Hey everyone, welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast. No more excuses. As always, I'm your host, Sandy Ballard, the Badass Business Coach. Thanks for being here, for listening or watching if you're watching this on YouTube and sharing this podcast with others. But most importantly, thank you for investing in you. You know, it is always an interesting time at the new year, right? New year, new chapters. Sometimes they say new you. I don't always think it needs to be a new you, but I do like new chapters. And I got that. It's from one of my guests that's going to be on today, the badass Moza Bella, and her trusted business partner, Scott Miller. So before I get to that, I just want to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to change things up this year with the podcast, thanks to Ms. Moses. She challenged me unknowingly, or maybe knowingly. Maybe that was her little secret coaching nugget right there. Was learn how to change things up and stop being so stuck and comfortable. And I've been getting bored with my podcast, if I'm straight up honest, a little bit. And so maybe this little change will be what I need to re-energize myself and re-energize you. And so what that means is monthly, I'm going to have a special guest on talk about things for you to give you more information and to give you more tips and tricks on how to increase and improve yourself or just do more personally and professionally. So, you know, life is a team sport. And Moza and Scott are here to kick off my new chapter of my podcast in the new year. So I appreciate that. So, you know, Moza, you know, she helps women work with their new chapters in their lives, manage the new chapters in their lives, right? And so I want to welcome you and Scott to the show, to the podcast. And the thing I loved about you the most when I was creeping on you before we met was your, I don't know what to say, it's your key phrase or it's on your website. You you teach women how to be iconic in the boardroom, irresistible in the living room, and insatiable in the bedroom. So, Moza, I want to welcome you and Scott, but I want you to talk more about that. So, welcome, unmute yourself and share what that means. How did you get to that part and what do you do to help women grow?
Yeah. Hi, Sandy. So thank you very much for having myself and Scott on your podcast. It's such a pleasure, and I'm honored to be here with everybody. I So there are a few elements here, and I applaud you for um, being willing to change. Like a lot of times when we feel comfortable doing things that we know that we are good at, it's very harsh for us to change. But then it's up to us to decide when would be when we should make the decision to grow. We have to get out of that comfort zone to be able to grow more. And I always put myself in the position to make the decision either or, right? When things don't work the way that I want, I either pause and do nothing, or I have to change. Now, when I change, do I want to do the things that I have done comfortably in the past, or do I do something totally different? And when I do that, do I want to be a follower, meaning waiting for everybody else to do first to see if they're going to make mistakes and then I will follow? Or I just take the initiative and be the leader and change and make mistakes. So everything in my life is about making the decision either or. And I would encourage people to do that. Just do that because just explore your creativity. You have everything in you to be the new you. Just like you said, right? It's the new chapter. We don't have to be the new you, but it's a new chapter in life. And your new chapter is gonna be brighter, it's gonna be more colorful with love, passion, and ambition. So
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate that. And you're so right about whether you want to be a follower. I just was reading. I wish I could remember. I should have written down the note of the name of the woman, and she said she wanted to be. She's a self-made billionaire, and I believe she's in the fitness industry. I just saw this on LinkedIn, and she said she always wanted to be a disruptor. She never wanted to follow like what her competition was doing. So I feel like you're sort of that same way as am I. Of we want to do things a little differently. So maybe keep an eye on our competition, but maybe just do things a little differently. Do things more to us, because if we're worried about our competition, then we might end up mimicking them, right? So, and now thank you again for being here, Scott, as part of our interview with Moza Bella. So, what are your thoughts on all of this? How do you help Moza, and how do you help support women that are managing new chapters?
So first of all, I'd also like to say thank you for having us on. I love your background, right? And I love the vibe of your podcast, right? No more excuses, business tips and coaching podcast kind of encompasses everything, all parts of our life, right? So one of the
Yes.
things that Moza was talking about is making a decision, right? Making a decision or not. We actually are making a decision if we don't make a decision as well, right? So, and decide, the root
I
word of
hadn't thought about
decide.
it like that.
Oh
I
yeah,
love
no,
that.
you've made it. If you don't do anything, you've made a decision. Maybe unbeknownst to you, but you've made a decision, right? So, the root word, the Latin root to decide, means to cut off from, right? Decide, right? Homicide, or some other words that are, you know, maybe we don't want to associate with a decision, but in fact, it's the exact same thing, right? You're cutting off from whatever the other possibilities are. So, what I found is, and I think that one of the things that Moza is very good at delivering this message, mostly to her women audience, but to everybody that we encounter, is that there's a lot of power in a decision. If you decide to lose 50 pounds or move to Washington or make $1 million or whatever the decision is that you decide to make, um, the in fact, that decision has gone into effect right that moment. You may not see the results till further down the road, but you've made that change in that moment, right? So one of the things that Moza is very, very good at, and I support 100% in our business, is empowering women. Most of the women that she's dealing with are very successful. They're middle-aged women, 40s, 50s, maybe 60s. They've had quite a bit of success, but there's something missing in their life, right? That may be a moniker for all of us. Certainly, a lot of men feel that as well. But I think that it's, women have a different, kind of a different, it's a different world in which they live in almost, right? Men, we kind of get to do our thing and everybody claps and, women for the most part, not 100%, but they do a lot of things behind the scenes that nobody sees, right? And they deal with a lot of stresses and a lot of pressures in their life that aren't seen to the outside world, particularly women who are successful. They're very good at masking that. They're very good at hiding that. They're very good at saying, I'm fine, I'm tough, I'm whatever. And, and she'll talk about the feminine side of being a woman, right? I can't talk to that. I'm a man, but certainly I understand it when she describes it, right? I can clearly see that from the gallery, I'll call it, of yes, this is something that I think they're missing. And she really does a wonderful, wonderful job of reconnecting them to that part of their life and having them understand they can live a holistic life. They can be successful, they can have financial success, relationship success, family, friends, pillars in the community. They can kind of have it all and then recapture the feminine side of themselves, right? And that's really the wonderful service, I'll call it, that she offers to her clientele. So
Cool, awesome. Well, Moza, I want to ask you a little bit about, I don't know necessarily if it's your process or just what's your biggest reason for wanting to support women in new chapters of their life?
So, the reality, I'm gonna just talk about what we have right now as a society. First, And if we have time, I don't mind if you would like for me to share my personal story. But what we're
Sure.
facing right now is that we have a group of very successful middle-aged women, right? You work so hard and you get to that to you achieve success, financial success in life, but then a lot of us, not all of us, but a lot of us would have to face a divorce when you just hit that middle age. So now all
Mm.
of the time that you devoted for your supposed to be husband, supposed to be your lifelong partner, and your children, you'd sacrifice everything, but now when you supposed to have everything in your hands, so everything fell apart. As a woman, when when we hit our 40s, 50 or 60, um the confidence in our appearance is not the same as you were when you were 20s. Yes, we keep saying it, but I know that every day I myself, when I look in the mirror and you see gray hair or you see wrinkles, you know deep down inside, and you know differently too, because the hormonal change in your body, you know that you feel different. You feel the pain on your knee that you did not feel before, or the pain in your back that you never had before in like 2 years ago, things like that. And if you are alone and if you have a partner who ensured you that you are loved and desired, that affects you as a woman with your confidence, right? And there's a difference between feeling loved and feeling desired. You may be married for like 10 years. You know that you're loved by your spouse and your children. But when was the last time that you knew for sure that you were desired? So there's a difference there, right?
Huge difference, huge difference. And that could be, we could get into a whole, another hour-long conversation probably about that. And with Scott on, talking about how that is probably the biggest, I guess, challenge with marriages on both sides. So, like Scott said, allowing the female, even though you're a badass financially or just emotionally full, just successful woman, are you allowing that femininity? Are you still allowing yourself to be a woman? You can be a badass and still be sexy and desired, right? And some of my listeners are probably like, you don't really talk about this. But it blends personal and professional selves, blend. If you're off in one area, it's going to at some point affect the other. So it doesn't matter which side goes first. You've got to find, I don't like to say balance, I prefer alignment. You've got to find what is aligned for you, right? So looking at that, starting off new chapters and starting off a new year, what would you say? And Scott, I'm going to maybe put this on. I'm going to put this on gallery. So we're all here. What is one tip or nugget of information or something you'd want to give to all the listeners, not necessarily the men, but all the listeners out there about how to either handle a new chapter in their life or something to kick off the new year and say, okay, I'm going to think about things differently and do things differently. So, who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I mean, look, here's the reality of life in every aspect of life. If you do more of the same, you're going to get more of the same. It's as simple as that. If you want to exponentially change your life, which most people profess to that they want to, but then you see at the 3-month mark, the 6-month mark, whatever we use as a measuring stick, the end of the year, they go back and they say, well, I made some progress. It didn't go the way I intended it to, but I'll try again next year. And therein lies the boogeyman, I'll call it, right, to our lives. That's a very dangerous habit to get into, and I think we all do. I certainly have in certain aspects of my life. I believe that everybody does in certain areas. So to kick off a new life, you could start anew anytime you want. It goes back to the conversation we just had about a decision. Why wait till January 1st to decide to make $1 million? Why wait till January 1st to decide to lose a couple pounds? Whatever it is, to go on vacation, to whatever it is you want to do. Now you could wait if you want, but but why wait? If you wait, I would submit then you're doing more of the same and you're going to get more of the same. One of the things that Moza and I work on in our business, and it's very frightening, by the way, sometimes it's scary. Luckily, she and I support each other in such a way that we're able to help each other go through these fears when it comes to our business. But we look at the end result that we want. We look at where are we going to land. So as a metaphor, if we're jumping out of a plane, you want to know where you're going to land, right? You don't want to land in a lake or, on top of a clump of trees or stuff. You want to land in a specific field so that the retriever, whatever they call that, the chase vehicle knows where to go, find you, pick you up with your parachute and take you back. You know, you don't really have to worry about the how. I would submit that when you're clear on where you're going, things will begin to show up in your life. You'll get little nudges. People will show up. A phone call will happen. We're going to this event here in Florida this week. We're going to meet a lot of people we know. We're going to meet some new people we've never met before. Maybe one of those people is the catalyst to growth in our business. Maybe we can partner with them. Maybe we can collaborate, whatever it may be, right? So I think the important thing from my standpoint, from where I sit on new beginnings, new changes is to be clear about where I'm going to land. A lot of times, and I've done this many times in my life, I'm wishy-washy about where I'm going to land. If I say something like, I hope I can make $1 million, as opposed to, I expect to make $1 million, and here's the day I'm going to have it. And then the how kind of takes care of itself. Now, the one thing I would mention, you have to go into action at that point. You can't just sit back and say, like some of these people use the law of attraction. Well, I want a beautiful vacation in Hawaii. And then you sit on your couch, you never go and look up the flights, you never find a hotel, any of those things, you're probably not going to land in Hawaii, right? So you have to take action. But when you take action, I think that people would find all of a sudden things will start to show up that will support that vision, right? You put it out into the ethos, and then you start to get feedback from that, right? And then you can adjust as you go along, right? What do they say? A plane that flies from New York to Los Angeles is off course like 80% of the time. The autopilot corrects,
Yeah.
right? The plane goes off course, and then the autopilot brings it back to the heading, right? And then it veers off a little bit, and then it brings it back to the heading. And eventually, hopefully, they land in Los Angeles, right? If they land somewhere else, well, then maybe they need to readjust their mission, So,
Right.
anyway,
Yeah,
that's
I like that. And I like how you said expect. Because I have a really big problem with the word deserve, even though we all deserve certain things. And I think it probably stems from my childhood where my mother felt like she deserved a lot of things. So I like the word expect. So thank you for that. So, Moza, same question. Tip, nugget. What do you give the listeners?
Right. So if you are a woman, you have a professional woman, middle-aged woman, I believe that we all can be iconic, irresistible, and insatiable. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter. Your life may not be together at this very moment. There are three things that I think that you can do. Number one is to deeply connect with your passion. Whatever that you want for yourself, not what other people tell you that you should do or that you should have, is you inside. Deeply connect with your passion inside and polish your skill set. You're very talented. Your knowledge, your skill set, refine it, be very good at it, and lead with your heart. Lead from the heart. You have a very warm, kind heart. Just listen to your heart and you will never do wrong.
That's awesome. So, and yes, men who are listening or watching, if you're watching on YouTube, you can do the same, right, Scott? All right, Moza, how can people get in touch with you if they're curious, either you or Scott? How can they get in touch with you to find out more, or maybe they have a new chapter in their life or thinking about one, and you might be a good fit for them.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I would love to meet all because, like I am 48, right? And I did everything wrong when I was younger. And I went through divorce, my fiance died. Like I had to go through a lot. I mean, this is, you see me right now, this is my new chapter. I was not like this when I was younger. I was not like this when I was in my 30s. So, what I have my strongest desire and my strongest mission and passion is to help the women to know that number one, you are not alone. Number two, this is not the end. If you want to go to another chapter, you know that you are more irresistible today than you were younger, and I can prove it to you. Or you can connect with me from, so my name is Moza Bella. Just look me up on social media, Moza-Bella, and Google me up, whatever. It just, but I'm everywhere. Just connect with me.
You
And
are everywhere. And it's Moza, Moza,
I'm
right?
Moza. Yeah, Bella is a Bella. And let me tell you this, Moza is mother of pearls. So think
Oh,
about it. Think
okay.
about
So that's why you have pearls, the beautiful jewelry on your
this.
website.
Right.
So,
Because,
so
because
hey, women, if you're looking for jewelry, or men, if you're looking for a beautiful piece of jewelry for your significant other that's a female, or
oh,
we
thank
don't
you,
judge.
Sandy.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
check
But
it
that's
out.
but that's the meaning behind it though. Like I just want to take
Okay.
like 15 seconds to say it because like think about it. It started with an irritant that got into the oyster's body. Although it was so painful, but the oyster decided to embrace it, cultivate it, and make it become something so beautiful for life and for herself. So
I
that's
had
a
no idea.
Absolutely, and that's why I embrace that. And Moza is mother of pearls. We can create pearls. We can shine from all of our pains and our difficulties in life. Absolutely.
Wow. Well, thank you. And I also learned that today. I am today years old that I learned how an oyster became like the mother of pearl. Yeah, so did not did not know that. So, well, thank you so much. All right, listeners, it's January 1st. It's New Year. Like Scott said, you didn't have to wait. Get off your ass and do things now, though. That your future self will thank you for it. But I love the analogy of the plane. You know, be clear on where you want to go, but let the how happen. Just keep, and that's what us badass coaches are about, right? Helping you reel it in when you get off track or off course. Just kind of bring it in because the path can be fluid as you learn and grow. You might need to take different directions, but we want to make sure they're still heading, you're still heading in the right direction, right? So thank you all very much. Like I said, it's a new year, but it doesn't have to be a new you, but we always are looking to improve and grow personally and professionally. So if you need to get a hold of me or have any questions, contact me, Sandy at sandyballard.com. Remember Sandy with an I because my mother was a pain in the ass. Or check out my website, badassbusiness.coach. Thank you again for being here, for listening, investing in you. And as always, I appreciate it. Thank you.